we're live. Ciao. Ciao, Gill. How are
Good
you?
morning, Giovanni. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a great day. And behind us, we have Lucrezia working on a few pizzas. I hope everybody had a good weekend. How was your weekend?
My weekend was lovely. I had a great time watching the marathon on Friday, and then I watched Cindy and Yuli on Saturday, and that was lovely. And then I did some crafting yesterday and prepped for the live. So I had a really good weekend, and then spent some time with my hubby and my son.
Sounds great. That's Christmas. That's already. Don't you feel it? This warmth inside and this quietness. I feel very relaxed these days. It's the holidays approaching.
Yes, absolutely. Well, my Christmas tree is up and in
Yeah.
the main room, so that's good. So that's done. We're only 3 people at home for Christmas, so it'll be quiet but lovely.
Well, even better, right? You're not traveling
Absolutely.
anymore. Are you just staying home?
Yeah.
That's good.
We'll just be at home, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Safe for us,
we'll
safe
just
for us.
be at home,
Okay,
so
so
it'll be good.
what are you going to do today? What is the plan?
So we are going to make today, let me just move my camera down a little bit, a 3D pop-up card. So this is the cards that we're going to make here. So that's how it looks when it's closed up. It's quite dimensional.
Okay, very
little
nice.
Belly band for holding it all together. So that's what the front looks like without the belly band on it. And then when we open it up, it has a box inside it that stands up. So we've got a 3-dimensional box. So it's a variation on a pop-up box card, but made completely differently to the normal one. So that's what we're going to make today, so that people can see how to do it and recreate it as they want to. So let me just pop that safely out of the way. I've used products from the 12 by 12 Winter Tales by Dorota. And so that is SBBL76. So that one. I've used elements from the collectibles papers, which are SBBV07. I've used pieces from both the 6 by 6 and the 8 by 8 papers, but I don't have back sheets of those because I fussy cut out all the elements. And then I've used die cuts from the 2 different die cut packs, so DFLDC17 and DFLDC41. And then for good measure, we've added, because you can't have enough at Christmas or for winter without a bit of sparkle, so we've used the sparkling blue Glamour Sparkles K3GG12 and the sparkling white Glamour Sparkles K3GGS01. So those are the products we're using, and I've gone over the top with the glue because I haven't got very much of the ordinary craft glue, so you don't need to use the Ultra Forte. You could just use an ordinary the ordinary craft glue from Stamperia, but mine's running out, so hence the reason I'm using the Ultra Forte this morning. And I have checked them all to make sure they're working, but that's famous last words, isn't it? So, absolutely. And in my true style, I have my envelopes made. So to start our make, we need to have an 8-inch square piece of card. Which is, for those of the people who like to work in centimeters, it's 20.3 centimeters by 20.3 centimeters. But it's easy to adjust if you're not an inches person. I tend to mix and match depending on what's going to be easiest to use. But I do know that there are some people who don't. And I'm de-stressing a back panel, which is cut from the 12 by 12s. And I will just get that glued down. with a little bit of glue, because
I
it's
really
a card.
appreciate it. Yeah, it's always nice to hear both versions, in inches and in centimeters. Very thoughtful of you. Thanks.
Well, I think it helps. I tend to mix and match what I do, because sometimes on a ruler you get a whole measurement with one and a part measurement with another, and so I just find that is the easiest thing to do. But everyone makes to their own likes, don't they, and their own needs. So for my side panels, let me find the one. You need 2 pieces of card. They're cut at 8 inches long, so that's 20.3. 5 inches across, that's about 50. It's about 15 centimeters, and then I've scored them at 4 inches and 4.5 inches, and that's when actually mixing the measurements up really makes life easier, because you've got easier on a board to measure pieces then. And this creates you a flap for sticking down, a spine, and the main piece. And from the 12 by 12 papers, I've cut this focal image for one of the panels of my make. And it's up to you whether you distress the edges or not. I think would say that if you've distressed them on one piece, you're better off distressing them on all pieces. So the choice is entirely yours. And we've got the usual headaches of beautiful images on both sides to choose from, but yeah, that's just a perennial problem for every crafter in the land, and a good reason for buying, in my case, 3 sets of papers, 1 to stroke, 2 to use. You just have to, yeah, absolutely. And when I was cutting the paper out, I then cut a slightly smaller piece to sit on the spine of that, so that's completely decorated. So we'll just give those a little distress. So I think we've got people joining us from South Africa and from Poland, as well as from England. So that's good. I think we've got some of our American friends in the house this morning, which is also lovely.
From all around the world. We have from US, and we have Dorota and Samantha.
Thank you, Dorota, for joining us this morning. It's really appreciated. So that's that side panel decorated, and I'm just going to add a bit of glue here onto that, and my base piece of card, I'm going to align this against the spine so that it lines up evenly and nicely. And then I'm going to squash down, and by doing it that way, gluing it on this way round, it allows me to make sure that the spine moves freely. So there we are. Hopefully that side is there, so we'll just pop that to dry, and we're going to repeat that for the opposite side. And I've used the other half of the paper that the beautiful princess comes out of, and I cut this quite carefully so that I'd got the whole on this one. I didn't on my original sample, so I've got the whole of the castle on display on the other side. So that card is going to go onto there, so I'm going to make sure I put this on the correct side of that. It needs to be on the inside.
Very well.
Well, so, it's very, when you're doing dimensional things, it's quite easy to end up putting your papers on the wrong side of the piece that you need, and that's quite frustrating. But like every crafter in the world, you can always adjust what you're doing. But most of us don't like wasting paper or changing our plans along the way. So there we are. So this is what's going on here. Hi, Yuli. Welcome to the live. I'm glad to see you here this morning.
Yuli did a great job as a director the other day. She directed
her first indeed. Live. Yeah, she did indeed. So there we are. So that piece is in there. And by cutting these the way I did, the image is continuous, because I think that that gives a nicer overall effect. So that's pieces going there. I'm going to repeat the same process. So a little bit of glue on there here. Well, you could just use tape for doing this, but the glue gives you wriggle room, which I think again is always helpful when you're wanting something to line up, particularly if it's a card project that needs to be able to stand freely. So that's the base of the piece over there. Now, for the box mechanism, this is quite a different approach to the boxes I've seen on most of the shows, which open as squares, because this one you slot in from the top rather than having panels across from side to side. So to make this piece, I decided I would cut a piece of card that was 8 inches tall and 7 inches wide. It's scored up 1/2 inch, 2.5 inches, 5.5 inches, and 2.5 inches. So that gives me a panel for gluing down, a space for me to put my pop-up elements, a front cut panel for a message, the base of the box, and another panel for gluing in place. Okay, so I suppose you might call it cheating, but I actually have a set of dies that cut slots. So I used a pre-cut die to cut these from, and the company that makes them will ship, but I'm not going to say the name on there. And for those people who haven't got access to slot making dies, I use them for speed and neatness. It's easy enough to make one for yourself. So on that top panel, which is 2 inches wide, I drew a line in the center and 1/2 inch either side, so they're evenly spaced, and drew my line, so I knew where I was going. I then punched a hole at each end of that using a hole punch, and then took a knife and a ruler and just cut out the slot. So even if you haven't got purpose-made dies, this is a very easily achievable project. I hope that makes sense. Good morning to Brazil this morning. And then we need something to stick our pieces on. So to do that, I have cut some pieces, 3 pieces of card that are 4 inches tall, 5.5 inches wide, and scored at 1/2 inch from the top and the bottom. And that gives me flaps that I can then attach to my mechanism. And I've got some pieces of decorative paper that are just a little bit smaller, by maybe an 18th or a 16th of an inch, or a couple of millimeters, than the panels themselves, because you can see the panels when the box is open. So I just think it's nice to have them with some decoration on them. So just bear with, because I've got 3 of these to attach. Good morning, Cindy. I know it's an ungodly hour for you out in the States, and thank you so much for joining us. It's really appreciated. I do try to prep for my lives, because I think sometimes with bigger pieces it's easier to have pieces all ready to go.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, it just...
Yeah, especially with fuzzy cutting and gluing, it takes so long during the lives that it's better to have something prepared from before. But yeah.
Yeah, I certainly, when you do as much of the fussy cutting and the construction and the layering in the projects that I enjoy making, I think that it does help to have stuff done, because we're repeating the process. So I think that we know how to cut out images, or I sincerely hope most of us who are crafters can. And so to me, it makes life easier. So those are my panels for inside the box construct made. Now at this point, I'm going to turn this over. And again, you're working back to front. So you have to remember which way you want this panel facing. So I've got a little bit of glue.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to tuck those. And I'm putting that central to my slot and up against the spine. And you may find that you just have to trim your that flat piece a little bit when you're adding it. Okay, just to make life easier for yourself. Yes, that's going to be, because this is dimensional paper, we've got images that need to be up the right way. So I'm just going to align that one there and give that a little burnish down. Because having these glued securely is important.
Okay.
Yeah. And the final one of those goes into there.
All right, perfect.
We'll give that a little wriggle.
It's so satisfying work because you can really see the precision. Yeah, I'm always astonished by your precision because you do it in such a perfect way, and you can see all the pieces folding exactly the way they should. So great.
And there we are. There is mistake number one. Let me just turn that one round and we'll pop that back.
Just when I said it.
Yes, well, that's just life, isn't it? You know. There we are. We'll pop it. It's all again. You see, that's the advantage of the wet glue, isn't it? No, well, I've put them all on round the wrong way. Actually, no, I haven't. There we are. Patience and virtues springs to mind. There we are. Hopefully, we'll get it. We'll get it right. There we are. Yeah. Okay. So we now, that's not straight. So let me just re-glue that because it's easier. And it, it just shows that you can correct things if you've got it wrong, doesn't it? That's the important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, that there aren't actually mistakes. So
let me just answer, Caroline. Yes, it is still possible to nominate people for the pizzas. It will be on for the whole December. So every live you see, tag your friend, and we're going to consider them for a pizza. Very good.
So we now need to attach the bottom halves of these flaps. So I've put those down where I want to, give them a good burnish. And I'm just going to put a line of glue. Sorry about the phone going. Hopefully hubby will answer it. There we are. So line of glue there. And then that piece is going to go over there.
Okay.
And it needs to dry. So whilst that is drying, there we are. She said, and we can see a mistake already. I'm determined to make a mess of this today, aren't I? There we are. There. We'll get there.
Is it still ringing? No. Okay, finished. Okay. Oh, around here, we always have noises in the back. For example, now there was a lot of noise for the pizza making, and so I was muting. I'm muting. So absolutely, it's part of this life.
So now I have a piece of paper from the paper pad, and I've chosen to keep the words "beautiful moments and love," and that will sit on that panel there. So there we are.
I see a lot of new faces in the comments, and a lot of new people are watching. So I think these are all people that came from the marathon. So please, let's keep on growing this wonderful community. And I see there is a new member of the Pokorny family, because there were two, but I don't remember Taylor. Was it Shelley and Taylor? I think there was another person. So it's obvious to see this group expanding. Okay.
But I think the real advantage of the marathon, apart from it being a lot of hard work for everyone involved, is the fact that it allowed people to join when they were able to and fit in around different time zones. So I think it's a lovely, lovely idea to do that. I mean, whatever time you pick, there'll be someone where it's the middle of the night. It's just not possible to pick a universal time. So that is my pop-up mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And that one has not glued, so let me re-glue that. There we are.
Let me ask in the comments, what was your favorite hour? Because we're going to check it with the algorithm and check how many people were connected at each time. But it's interesting to know that we should do our lives at 9 p.m. Maybe we will find somebody that loves doing it. I don't know.
So we now have our mechanism.
Okay.
So we had a panel at the bottom of here. So we're just going to pop some glue onto the back of that piece and align it central-ish, because I'm not a great measurer, into there.
Okay.
A little approximately central. Give that a little rub.
Okay.
Okay. So this piece is now going to sit up like that. So I now need to put some glue onto there.
Very well.
Just hold that down while it grabs. And there is space to take a brush along the back and just give it a little bit of a wriggle along the whole length. So we now have our box neck mechanism in place, and it squashes up and it'll squash down.
Okay.
So there we are. So that's how to do this box mechanism. And as you can see from the sides, you've got those panels that you can then use to add to. So the next step for me was to actually, whilst that is drying, on the back you've got a lot of extra pieces where the papers have been all added in. So you've got join lines here.
Okay.
So we're just going to cover that all up with a lovely piece of paper from the pack. Your choice as to which side of the image you use, of course. I'm choosing the more plain one, but the patterned one with the beautiful imagery would work just as well. And that's then going to go onto there. And that's just a whole piece from the 8x8 paper pad, because it covers all of the gubbins and all of the workings on the back side.
So, do you prefer using backgrounds or main elements? I see both in the project.
So I tend to use the background pieces and then do lots of fussy cutting. So I love the fussy cut elements that are on the pack, and I use those a lot. And the collectibles really suit me because, again, you've got lots of images that you can use. So I have cut out from the collectibles and the papers lots of images, lots and lots of flowers that we're going to add in, and this will be fairly, I think it'll look shiny. So this is just a piece of acetate. There are clear acetate pieces in some of the printed acetate packs, but it's just a piece of acetate that's been cut into approximately 1/2 inch strips. so that you've got some clear acetate pieces. So all I need to do is not lose those, because that'll be my next trick. So I've taken my flowers. Now I sort of know where I'm going with this because I've made it before, but it's, you can line them how you want. So that just needs a few seconds to grab. And I have to say that this then needs to slot into here. Now, if you're not careful, you'll slot, when you put it in, it'll sit out the top. So you need to be able to cut it so that your piece, so that it's going to sit comfortably. And one of the joys, this is the reason why I put these pieces, these baffles inside, because this gives me then something to slot into.
Okay.
Pop it down, and that's going to not interfere by putting it there, and I can give that there. And then I'm afraid it is rinse and repeat at this point, and I've already managed to, there we are. But I've not got huge numbers of these. You could add as many of these to this piece as you want. It's entirely up to you how many pieces you use. And the ultra forte glue for this is really because it glues to anything. We all know that actually gluing acetate to things can be a bit of a problem, and the ultra forte does make life easier from that point of view. So now, one of the joys of the paper packs is that you have images in lots of different sizes, so that means that you can mix up what you're using so that you've got a variation in sizes of pieces, and that again makes life just adds some interest and makes it easier to create a project that you're happy with. So this piece, and you could add more to that back panel if you want. I tend to work from the back. So this piece is going to go into the panel a step further forward.
Okay.
And I need it, if I push this down, I can then see where it's going to line up so that I'm not covering everything up as I go.
Okay. And you can pop these at whatever angles you wish to put them at. It doesn't matter. So I think we've got a gap there. So I'm going to pop that one into there. I've got a beautiful girl that I think is lovely and who will also need attaching. So there we are. Let's just use a little bit of that for her. Yes, perfect.
And I want her facing inwards. So there we are. So she can go there. And I'm going to tuck her feet in as well so that she's not completely on top of each other.
Okay.
There we are. She's going to go over there.
There was somebody's birthday. Just a second.
Sorry, I didn't see. So
happy birthday to Eva. But okay, perfect.
Happy birthday, Eva. What a lovely way of spending a birthday, being able to watch a live. So that piece is going to go into there.
Okay.
And you can see as I'm working, I'm putting them where, I'm checking where I'm putting that. And I know I want to pop my beautiful girl. So she's looking at the other fairy there. So I'm going to pop this in place now. Because there's not much point in me putting a piece of a flower behind her if she's not going to be seen. There we are. So that's there. And then we have some smaller flowers that we'll tuck in. There we are. And again, I don't want them covering my images. So that's where putting these in is quite helpful. And at this point, I just want to add a few little images. So I'm just going to put these directly in place rather than having to add more pieces of there. So we've now got our pop-up mechanism done from here.
Okay.
Which is good. So I'm going to pop that out while that dries a little bit, and we're going to get the outside cover pieces done, and then we'll get the glitter out all at the same time, because that's going to be easier.
Very well.
Okay. So for my cover pieces on the outside, I've chosen 8 by 4 inch panels. So we'll from one of the paper pads. So at home, I would just walk away from there. If it wasn't live, I'd walk away from there and let everything set properly on the inside, and then come back and do the outside pieces. But the joy of a live is that you don't have to. You have to work alongside it. So the reason I'm doing this is it always takes a little bit of time for glue on acetate to actually grab. There's no reason why you couldn't finish the inside all at one time. And I could have used the backs of these, but I've actually decided I will use the main focal images from these cutouts from the paper pack, because they're beautiful, and most of my detail for my card is actually on the inside, but that doesn't mean that you can't share the same degree of attention to the outside. So I know what I haven't done beforehand, and I'm just going to pop my glue gun on to heat up, otherwise we will be in trouble shortly. I'll pop that on. So there's at least one poor crafter in the UK who didn't unplug her heat gun and glue gun one night, who managed to burn her whole house down. So I'm very conscious that we need to make sure we'd have unplugged everything before settling down, because otherwise it would be a complete disaster.
One night we came back from Paris, and we got a gargoyle with a candle in his hand as a little souvenir. It was quite scary, but we turned on the candle, and it was on top of a table with a tablecloth, and we went to sleep after a night of dinner. I woke up because I smelled some smoke, and I walked into the kitchen, and there was this gargoyle holding a candle and looking at me right in the eyes in the middle of a burning table with all the tablecloth that caught fire. It was really was an interesting experience. Yeah. So careful with fire and with electric stuff turned on and everything that can burn around the house. Don't burn around your house.
No, it's not a great concept to burn down the house, I think. So so I've got some flower stamens here. I've got some silver, and I've got some pale blue, very pale green that I think work well. On my original sample, I've actually used a bronzy color, so there's lots of variations for this that you can have, and we're going to decorate these up. So I am literally just going to push a hole through the center of my flowers, because that will make life easier, approximately in the middle, because that's where stamens sit in a flower, so that will work for us. There we are. So, and we want one of those chopped in half, so we'll pop that in half, and we'll chop another one of those in half. So I've got a small thin piece of wire. You only need a short length, and it's of course reusable. So I'm just going to fold that in half, and I'm going to collect I think a mix of the different stamens, because why not? I've got them, I might as well. But one color looks lovely, and you'll be surprised actually as to how many stamens that you can actually get into some of these. So most stamen packs will come in packs of about 100, and you'll think, oh, I'll never go through 100 stamens, and that couldn't be further from the truth. You will go through lots of stamens. If you add 20 plus to a piece, to an individual flower, it's very easy, I think, then to realize how you can go through. And my pre-made hole, I'm literally just going to pull those through, and in the process I've wrinkled my flower up, which is actually what I wanted to do. So it gives it some texture, and I'm adding to that. I have a feeling my glue gun might not be quite hot enough, so we'll carry on in a minute, and we'll just carry on and do a few of these because they need to be done. And it's always a balance. I never quite know how much to prep and how much to do live. So the flat, I'm just picking up a random assortment of these stamens, literally. And if you've got a smaller flower, I pick up a few less, and I try and have them reasonably central, but again, it's not so important to do that. So that then goes through there and pull and just shape the plant. It just gives it a little bit more dimension and a little bit more interest, which is why I'm doing it like that. So, yeah, we are. So I've got a few more of these to do, I'm afraid, Giovanni, but so if anyone's got questions to ask, then that's fine. Some of my stamens seem to be doubled up and glued together, but there we are. That's life. So we need 5, 6 of these all together, so we're getting there. And for a change, actually, we've got good time. I often go over, and I know it's not so important, but so literally fold, 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 fold. And hopefully by the time I've made all of these up, my glue gun will be nice and warm, and I can glue them. Hold. So this is an easy way of making flowers, just with pre-cut images from the paper pad. I do enjoy making flowers with plain paper and colouring them myself, and I also enjoy making flowers with the flower foams that you can get, but I appreciate, again, these are not always so easy for people to get hold of, and so being able to make your own flowers using what you've got, I think, is a helpful thing to be able to do. So there we are, and we're getting there. But they all add a slightly different textural element. So the flowers that Dorota was using, she often has ones made from flower foam, and they are so tactile and beautifully soft, and they shape probably with a little bit more easily than these do. So literally pull it through.
Cindy, I will ask if we can do that. That would be a very good idea. Thanks.
And Giovanni, if you're going to relaunch the Winter Tales next year, a collectibles pad with the pink poinsettia and red poinsettia, as well as these beautiful muted greens, would be wonderful. I think several of the crafters on one of the marathons commented that they could use quite happily use a use more of the different shades of the flowers, because the collectibles pad has a couple of red flowers in it, and one beautiful pink flower, and I think we could all quite happily have more of them. You know, there's a never-ending wish list, isn't there, from crafters? We're never satisfied. We always want something different or something more. 1, 2, 3, 4. That will do. So let's just move those out of harm's way. Those over there. And at this point, hopefully my glue gun is now warmed up, and all I'm going to do is secure those with a big glob of hot glue, and try not to burn my fingers in the process, because that's something I think every crafter can relate to when they've got a glue gun in their hands. We're going to trim the backs of these, so that's not a problem.
Very well.
There we are. Okay. So, cool. So they can sit over there. I can sit over there. Sit over there.
Okay.
Those to dry. Yeah. So hopefully, she says, pulling strings of hot glue everywhere. So I should now be able to fold that in place and attach these fronts. So there we are.
Okay, sounds good.
One for there. Is that, yeah, I think there's no short circuiting things. If you're layering lots of pieces, you just have to take your time to add the layers of detail that you want into it.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
There we are. And then I've got 2 white pieces, so I've chopped 2 more strips from the paper. There we are. And I should of course have distressed the edges of that, but hey ho, it's wet now, so we won't. So that one can sit on there. That hasn't grabbed because I felt it move. There we are. So, and what we have on one side of a gatefold mechanism is clearly another space that needs another piece of paper. So that's going to go onto there. Let's just give that a little push down.
Okay.
Okay. So
it's really coming along. Really beautiful.
I like it. I have to say, I was very happy with it when I had made it, but then it was my piece. Now I'm going to put into here a belly band, but I've got space at the bottom that needs to be filled up. So I've just taken one of the big flowers. I'm adding a little bit of texture, and I'm going to add that to there.
Okay.
And I'm going to repeat on the other side with the other half, because who wants to waste things? We certainly don't. There we are. So that can go. Just going to pop it at a slight angle, because I think it's going to sit better at a slight angle. And there we are. We have another glue gun. So I now have some of my dimensional flowers with the glue almost set, and all this gubbins at the back can now be trimmed off, and I can use a bit more hot glue. And we're going to add one of those there, and we'll tuck another one in underneath. So I've now got, in fact, I think what I did on the original piece was actually tuck in some bits of gauze in the process. So let me just shred a little bit of gauze, and I shall tuck some in, having forgotten to put it on the first time. But that's how my projects evolve. I do a little bit and I think, there's a space there, I want to fill that. What have I got that I can fill that with? And nearly always I'll add a little bit of something extra. So there's a little piece of shredded gauze that's going to tuck underneath there, just to fill that space a little bit. And I think I might put another little bit on the other side. So, just I do think you probably use less gauze if you add it only where you need to, but it really doesn't matter. There we are. So that's going to go in there. So that fills that. Now we've got, I'm afraid it's rinse and repeat again. There we are. So we've got another. There we are. Get rid of that. So we've got another beautiful thing there. And we'll not make the same mistake.
You must have tons of gauze in your house because of your surgeon career, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's I've having been a surgeon for almost 40 years, and then at medical school for 6 or 7 years before that. I have lots of thank you cards and gifts I've been given. I've been a very lucky lady over a long time. I mean, I have to say that that I will be 60 on the 22nd of December, and it's time for me to hang up my surgeon's knife. I think that and that's because the system over here is different, I think, to in Italy, Giovanni. But we have to be on call for 24 hours at a time. And when I was very much younger, it didn't worry me if I lost a night's sleep. I would be quite happy, and I really wasn't worried at all. But and I would recover quite quickly. But now I just find that actually it takes me 3 or 4 days, and I'm not safe working overnight with very poorly newborn babies, because that's the work I did, was working with newborn babies, and you don't want to take a premature baby to theatre. And and then find that you're not in that you're too tired to really concentrate. And I've had to teach all my working life as well. So often when we're working overnight, we've got a junior doctor with us, and we're trying to teach them how to look after the next generation of patients. And that's it just becomes a very, very stressful environment. And as I say, so I'm fortunate that actually I can now retire. So I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue there to that.
Gill, what a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
You're very welcome. Oh. You're very welcome. I mean, the plus side of being able to retire is that it means that I can do some more of the lives, and I can enjoy my crafting, which is always you have to find the blessings in life, don't you, and the positives. So I've gone back to the inside of my my card, and I don't want to add extra bulk here, which is why I've not put the stamens in these pieces, but I do want a little bit of texture. So literally all I've done is put my paper into my palm of my hand and taken a ball tool and squashed it.
Okay.
So that means I can add some little bits of flora elements here, and you can carry on adding and taking away as much as you want, really. I like to add in 3, so I'm going to pop another one there. So there we are, that's going to go there. And from the die cuts, I've got Believe in Magic, because it's a magical time of the year, so why not? And I'm just going to tuck that in. And when I'm layering stuff, I tuck things in and under. I mean, I do sometimes just put some things in place. Now, on my original, I had some of the smaller die cuts, and I popped these in, but on the side. So I'm going to, but I actually do think the larger ones work. So I might. I'll just add that one there. I'm not going to add mechanism. So once upon a time, I've got Believe in Magic there. So I might either put Find Magic. I think I'm going to use Dreams Come True over here.
Okay.
And I have, when I've done this, I've staggered them so that they're not all going to layer on top of each other. So that was an intentional choice.
Very well.
So we have one more piece to make, and that is the belly band. So let me just grab from my box of magic tricks my belly band pieces.
Jill, it got a little blurry. Can you please put your hand in front of the camera like this for a second and take it off? Just no, little on the right. Okay. Why is it not working? Just hold it up. Huh. Oh no, because we see your other camera very well.
I've moved it down. Is that better for people?
Not really. Just okay. Just leave the hand for a few seconds there, like this, or with a piece of paper, a white piece of paper. Okay, it seems to be a bit better. Let's try. Oh. Okay. All right, let's try. Let's continue. It's fine.
Okay, sorry.
Absolutely no problem.
Okay, so to make my belly band, I need quite a long piece of card, but I didn't have a long piece of card. So essentially, I've got a 1 inch strip that is scored at 8 inches.
Okay.
A little bit. So the side panel or my hinge of my gatefold was 1/2 inch. So this piece I've scored just a little bit bigger, and I've got a 4-inch piece here.
Okay.
And I've repeated it. Now, to make it fit around my book, what I did, if I grab my scoreboard and pop that in, maybe. What I did was I lined that first score line up. Let's pop that down there. Here. And there is my 8-inch mark. So you can see actually my piece of paper wasn't long enough to go round. So all I've done is line that up, and I've popped this on, lining the 8-inch piece up where I wanted it. So that allows you to use whatever size length of card. You just need to do a little bit of paper piecing to pop it together. And of course you can put a piece of decorative paper inside to cover up that marking anyway, so it doesn't matter. But that's how I worked out how to make a shorter piece of card into the correct size for what I wanted to do. So let me put that out of the way. So from the same papers, I've got another of the word sentiments, which is actually just the right size. And I didn't plan it. I wish I could say I did, but I hadn't planned it. But that sentiment strip is literally just the right size to sit with the words tucked into there.
Okay.
I haven't cut one for the inside, but I will do at some point, but maybe not on the live. So we've now got 2 more pieces.
Yeah.
That we can happily pop into here.
Okay.
remember do this. Right, I noticed that Agnieszka was saying that she loved it and that Crafty I Am is enjoying what I'm doing, which is lovely. Thank you, ladies. Much appreciated. I only see some of the comments. Now, this is where I thought, how am I going to join my piece together? So, I wanted something, because it's a piece that's going to be handled to come on and off. I needed something that was going to be reasonably solid. So, which is why I've taken one of my die cut chipboards, and literally I'm just going to pop that so that it's in reasonably straight.
Okay.
There we go. So approximately in the middle. It won't matter if it's not entirely exactly. And just let that go off. Let me turn that round. It's going to be easy to hold the two sides like that. And then I'm just going to add over the top a second one.
Very well. Okay, this is a very nice way to put them together.
Yeah, but they were there. The pieces are there, aren't they? And it makes this piece that's movable really quite substantial, which I think is important. And then we'll grab just another piece of gauze.
Okay.
And shred it a little bit because I like shredding it. And I think I've got a smaller flowerlet than the one I used on my original, but again, it really doesn't matter. I just want to shred some of these edges, and some gauze is easy to shred and some is more tightly attached to each other. There we are. So that's then going to sit across there. And I know that means I'm covering the beautiful bird image, but that's just part of life. And I have my hot glue gun on the floor. So let's just trim that back a little bit further.
Okay, very well.
Then this is going to go onto there. There we are. So now I have my belly band made. There we are. So all that remains, I say all that remains, is to add some bits of glitter. So let us do that, and some more tiny bits. When this is opened, you can see this white card, which I didn't particularly like.
Okay.
So again, all I've done is take some bits of gauze, tiny bits of gauze, and added those in to the areas that I felt needed just a little bit of extra detail.
Okay.
And it helps cover some of this lot up. And you can do this, repeat the same at the side. You just need to be aware of where you're putting it so that you don't cover anything that's movable. So that can go there.
Okay.
So, and at this point we can add some of our beautiful glamour sparkles. And I know this might be sacrilegious, ladies, but I'm going to probably just shake it off into the floor. But yeah, so I'm just going to add some little touches of glitter. You know, add them in on there.
Very well. Okay.
And so you can add as many as much gauze to the sides and the top as you want to. And I'm deliberately choosing two colours. You could have a pre-made mix. Now the crafter in me won't let me just throw that lot all onto the floor. So because I've got pieces that I can reuse.
It's your floor.
Well, the floor is covered anyway, but it's wasteful, isn't it, to throw stuff away if you don't need to. So there we are. So there we are. So that's that
This
one. That
project
one needs to
is so beautiful.
all
I
right. And we're going to for
Look,
consistency.
Here you go. Para. Here you go. Okay. He knows.
We're going to
Okay.
do the same here on the belly band.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could add some gesso. I've kept this as a very much a card making project rather than, albeit detailed and lead, rather than adding lots of gessos and splatters. Now I have a little bit of a headache here because I want to add glitter to the outside. So I'm just going to pop that lid there so I don't squash it while it's still wet. And I'm going to add some, and some bits of glitter onto this piece. And again, if you're making it for yourself, you don't bother, do you? You just you walk away, let one layer dry before you tackle the next one. But
I really like how coherent the whole project is. That the colors are all matching, all the collection is one, and it's so perfect in the way it's composed. Really a beautiful
thank
story.
you. I do try. I don't think it. I do think that starting out with beautiful papers that work together, and particularly the different sizes of papers makes life easy.
Perfect.
Because you've got a good product to start with where everything's been thought through for you, so that you've got things that stuff that works. Let me just. That piece is going to irritate me, so that needs to go down to there.
I like one thing that we started doing, which is to come up with new products for older collections, so that we keep on expanding lines that were not complete before. And I think it's good that,
I think that bringing back some of the lines and adding things like the die cuts, the chipboard, the die cuts that weren't there when they were originally launched was really good. I also think that the collectibles pads are just sheer genius for those that love to fussy cut. They are lovely. So I now need to leave this piece to dry, because if I try putting my belly band on at the moment with the wet glues in place, it's just going to stick everything together. So, but this piece that would sit round my card as the belly band.
Okay.
That's the front of the card completed, and then we've got the inside of the card with its pop-up box. So that is our project. And yippee, I've managed to do it in a reasonable time frame. That's a miracle of miracles. There we are. So that is our project, ladies. We'll let that dry. I will add a little bit more gauze to that central panel because I think it needs it. And then I will photograph both projects, my original and this one, and post it online. So this is my original project. And I think, I've used a big flower here, but actually the little flower works just as well. So have fun. And I hope that if you do like it, that and are inspired to make, that you tag me in any of the makes that you've done, so that I can see what you're up to, because I love to see what our crafters make.
Great. And everybody's asking you to post on Stamperia Worldwide. They cannot wait to see more of this beautiful project. It's
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a special guest who just woke up and wanted to say hi. So we'll close with him. Just 1 second. Okay. So,
Aww.
All right.
Oh, good morning.
He just decided to come say hi. All right. So, see you soon, Gill, and thank you so much for today.
You're very welcome.
Okay, bye, Lucrezia.
Hi.
Bye, ladies. Bye, Giovanni. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.
You too.
Do you know our Facebook group Stampers Worldwide? The place where you can post your creations, ask for advices, and make new friends. And above all, an incredible source of inspiration. Subscribe now and join the Stampers Worldwide group. It's for free. We're waiting for you.